the English department, students, and lecturers. Just to begin, I'd like to say that it is quite a change for me, because it has been several years since I left high school to be back sitting at a desk studying all week in English no less. I think I speak on behalf of all the first-year students when I say that it is only now that we've come to understand how to handle with the requirements of the English department and of each of the lecturers' unique demands and expectations for their assignments. As teachers-to-be, the ability to stand in front of the class and speaking freely in a language that is not our native language is not an easy task. When I think of myself as a teacher, I want to believe that I will interest my pupils and not read stories and study materials in a laborious, monotonous way, as some of my own teachers did. If I try to explain the essence of this course, then it would be that it enables us to do exactly that. We teachers-to-be, practicing both our confidence on stage and our ability to both deliver texts in an interesting manner and convey their message. Throughout the first semester, we practiced these skills by reading and performing well-known speeches and monologues of different leaders and writers throughout history. Each one of us was assigned different texts and had to both record the speech in the radio station and perform it on stage in front of the whole class. My personal experience was with Lincoln's speech at Gettysburg, a speech from the Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel, and a monologue from Shakespeare's Hamlet. Each one of these speeches, besides being great practice, actually made me relate to the subject and learn about each person and situation in a much closer manner, as each one of these speeches carry heavy historical baggage that is worth learning about. In this semester, we worked mainly on the dialogues you're about to see. The idea was to pair up and find, with Nancy's assistance, a dialogue from the play we relate to. From that point on, the class became a rehearsal room with Nancy in charge as the director, producer, choreographer, and babysitter at times. On that note, I'd like to thank Nenssi for this course. This is the first year this course has been offered, but clearly this skill of standing in front of people and speaking is a skill that all of us should master. Thank you, Nenssi, and I hope you will all enjoy the show.
And I'm going to tell you about the playwright William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born in April 1564 in the town of Stratford-on-Avon on England's Avon River. The majority of Shakespeare's working life was spent not in Stratford, but in the theatre of Ward of London, where he established himself professionally by the early 1590s. He enjoyed success not only as a playwright, but also as an actor and a shareholder in the acting company. Sometime between 1610 and 1613, Shakespeare is thought to have retired from stage and returned home to Stratford, where he died in 1616. In late 1594, when the theatre reopened, he was leading member of the Lord Chamberlain Men, later named the King Men, the acting company for which he would be a principal actor, dramatist, and shareholder for about 2 decades. In the 1590s, he wrote his English history plays, several comedies, and at least 2 tragedies, Titus Andronicus and Romeo and Juliet. Many of Shakespeare's sonnets, published in 1609, were also probably written in the 1590s. William Shakespeare died in Stratford on April 23, 1616, and was buried on April 25th. 7 years after his death, in 1623, his collected plays were published in the work now known as the First Folio.
My name is Omer, and I'm going to tell you about the play Romeo and Juliet. In Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare creates a world of violence and generational conflict in which 2 young people fall in love and die because of that love. What is so striking about this play is that despite its extraordinary setting, it has become the quintessential story of young love. In the city of Verona, the long-standing quarrel between the Montague and Capulet families breaks into violence. Romeo Montague reveals to his cousin Benvolio that he is in love with Rosalind, but that his love is unrequited. After learning that Rosalind will be at a party at the Capulet house that night, Romeo's friends convince him to attend in disguise. Romeo meets Juliet and they fall in love. During the party, they discover that their families are sworn enemies. From Capulet's garden, Romeo overhears Juliet expresses her love for him. When he answers her, they declare their love and their desire to be married. Lee and Johnny will be reading the famous balcony scene.
But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Oh, it is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, but she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. It is not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand? Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
Ay, me.
Oh, she speaks. Speak again, bright angel.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or, if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be Capulet.
Should I hear more, or should I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself not a Montague. What's a Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? The witch would call a rose, by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would. Were he not Romeo called, retain the dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth, I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou, that be screen at night so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name, I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I treated him, I would share the word.
My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's utterance. Yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither, tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place dead, considering who thou art. If any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings did I overperch these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out. And what love can do that dares love attempt? Therefore, thy kinsmen are no stop to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
I have night's cloak to hide me from their eyes. And but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued, wanting of thy love.
Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet, if thou swearest, thou may prove false. A lover's perjuries, they say, Jove laughs. Oh, gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or, if thou thinkst I'm too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay. So thou wilt woo, but else, not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayst think my hair light. But trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those that have more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that thou overheardst before I was aware, my true love's passion. Therefore, pardon me, and not impute this yielding to thy love, which a dark night hath so discovered.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear.
Swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon that monthly changes in a circled orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
What should I swear by?
Do not swear at all, or, if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the god of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
dear love.
Sweet, good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night, good night. As sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast.
Or wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would have word to give again.
Wouldst thou row it? For what purpose though?
But to be frank and give to thee again. And yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. Juliet? And not a good nurse. Sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little. I will come again.
Oh, blessed, blessed night. I am afeard. Being at night, all this is but a dream. Too flattering and sweet to be substantial.
3 words, Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose be marriage. Send me word tomorrow, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite, and all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world.
My name is Johnny, and I will tell you about the playwright of What's of the Corridors. Jean Louis, a playwright who became one of the strongest personalities of the French theatre and achieved an international reputation. His plays are intensely personal. Often, they express his love of the theatre as well as his grudges against actors, wives, mistresses, critics, academicians, bureaucrats, and others. And his characteristic techniques include the play within the play, flashbacks and flash forwards, and the exchange of roles. And we rejected naturalism and realism in favor of theatricalism, the return of poetry and imagination to the stage. He showed a great versatility of character, developing his own view of life, highlighting the contradictions within human reality, or the ambiguous relationships between good and evil. His dramatic vision of the world possessed the question of how far the individual must compromise with truth to obtain happiness. His play show men or women facing the loss of the privileged world of childhood. Some live lies, and others reject any tampering with ideals. In Waltz of the Toreadors, his aging couples seem to perform a dance of death. The English version of the 1952 play that Omer and Abiyah are reading was translated by Lucien Hill, who was best known for her translations of the French dramatist Jean Louis. She won a Tony Award for the Broadway production of Louise Beckett in 1961 and had been nominated for a Tony for her translation of his Waltz of the Toreadors 4 years earlier. Tall, willowy, and a great beauty all her life, Hill had a remarkable and unusual career. She grew up in a French-speaking household in London, started as an actor by understudying Mae West in Diamond Lille in 1948, and began to translate Ennui at the request of Laurence Olivier. She went on to translate 30 more of his works until fashions changed in the mid-1970s and Ennui was no longer much performed. Ennui called her translations remarkable, but the two of them did not really get along when they met. Hill never spoke highly of him, and she told her daughters in later life, whenever Ennui writes a slut these days, he calls her Lucien.
My name is Lee, and I'm introducing the Waltz of the Toreadors, which is presented by Omer and Abiyah. Jean Louis' bittersweet farce, The Waltz of the Toreadors, is about a retired general uplifted by the prospect of one last shot at regaining a long-lost love, which was a popular theatrical staple in the mid-20th century. First, as a hit in Paris, then on the London stage in 1956, and again, a year later, as a Broadway production that ran for 132 performances. The big screen version of The Waltz of the Toreadors was released in 1962, with the 37-year-old Peter Sellers cast as the aged lover who finds himself competing with the younger men for the woman of his dreams. General Senpei is proud of his conquest on the battlefield, while his home life, however, reveals a nagging hypochondriac wife and whiny daughters. To escape this day-to-day annoyance, General Senpei keeps an eye out for any pretty woman passing by, and remembers Ghislaine, the great love of his life, the woman with whom he danced the waltz of the Toreadors in an army ball 17 years before. And for those years, the lovers stayed apart for the sake of his wife, Emily, a woman whose worthiness cannot be questioned or denied. Ghislaine appears at the general's house. The romance can begin at last, for she has evidence that Emily has been unfaithful. The general's confrontation with his wife is presented to you by Omer and Aviah. In this scene, the setting is General Senpei's house. The bedroom is occupied by his wife. It is afternoon. Emily, in nightcap and bed jacket, sitting up among her pillows in her bed. She has spent part of the day lying on the railroad tracks, a gesture intended to prove that she was never unfaithful, that her husband is a beast, and that it is all too much for a poor sick woman. The general stands beside the bed.
We must thresh this matter out, madam.
I tried to kill myself, you monster. Isn't that enough for you?
You were stretched out on the tracks. An awkward position, but quite safe. The train had already passed.
I didn't know. I was waiting for it.
That branch line, you could reckon on a good 24 hours of it.
Is nothing sacred to you? You brute. I might have died of cold during the night.
We are well into April, and spring is early this year. We are dying of heat.
Of sunstroke then. Starvation. I don't know. Of sorrow. Yes, that's it. Quite simply of sorrow in my state of health.
Sorrow you can die of in your bed, madam, at leisure. It was absurd, like everything else you do.
I am seriously ill. How often has the doctor told you that my condition gives cause for the gravest alarm? I did truly mean to kill myself, and that alone should make you fall sobbing at my feet if your heart were not made of granite.
My heart is not made of granite, but I am thrifty with my tears.
I sacrificed my life for you, you murderer.
Be quiet, confound you, or I'll leave the room. Let us talk over things calmly.
I'm too unhappy. You aren't unhappy, not you. You have your health and strength you have. You out and dress each morning, you ride your horse, you walk around the garden, you go drinking with your friends. You live. You jeer at me on your two legs while I sit here glued to my wheelchair. Aren't you ashamed of being well?
You are glued to your wheelchair for no other reason than because you want to be. We know that now.
Do you dare to say that I'm not ill?
One has to be an idiot like myself, madam, to go on believing in your aches and pains by this time. As for your poor ailing legs, thank God we hear no more about those for a bit. I strongly suspect you of stretching them in your room every night. They help you keep your balance mighty well down the wisteria and over the railway line this morning.
It was the last spasm of the stricken beast who longs for death. Call your accomplice Dr. Gonfalon. Let him check my reflexes.
Death and damnation, madam. That's too easy.
Too easy to you, I dare say. What have you got to complain about while I lie here wrecked with pain? You who can wander fancy-free on your great fat legs. Where do you go, huh?
From my study to the garden, at your beck and call every 10 minutes.
Huh, and what is there in the garden? Answer me that, you pig, you lascivious goat.
Well, I don't know. Roses?
Huh, roses. There's Madame Tordieu on the other side of the privet hedge, that frightful woman who exhibits her body as she leans over the flower bed. There are household word here, Madame Tordieu's breast. Whalebone rubber, still probably, she's popped up like a tumbledown barn.
Let's change the subject, madam. I have something very serious to say to you. You are untrue to me, madam. That's the long and short of it. You wrote to Dr. Gonfalon that you were in love with him. I have proof of it here in my wallet, down in black and white, with 2 spelling mistakes which identify your hand. Yes, for you, who have always accused me of being unfaithful, too lumpish to appreciate Bobadilla or Wagner, can tell a conjunction from a carrot. You never had a day's schooling in your life.
How shabby you are! To come on my deathbed and throw my unhappy childhood in my face. For over a year I was a boarder with the daughters of consuls and ambassadors at the most select ladies'
where your mother went to do the household ending and where they took you in and fed you out of charity.
My poor mother and I suffered a great deal, no doubt, but please to remember that my mother was a woman of infinite distinction, not a provincial housewife like yours.
One trade is as good as another, but your mother, madam, was a dresser at the opera.
She accepted the post at the earnest request of the director, solely for the love of music. A woman whose hand Monsieur Gunnar kissed at the gala matinee for charity.
Have it your own way. Let us get back to those letters. Did you or did you not write them? Do you or do you not address him as Armand? Do you tell him, yes or no, that his hair smells of vanilla when he sounds your chest, and that you pretend to have a bellyache so he can come and fill it for you? It's down in black and white with 2 spelling mistakes which identify your handwriting.
How could you stoop so low as to come poking about in my correspondence?
I did not poke about in your correspondence, madam. I obtained possession of those letters. How? That's none of your business.
Oh, really? None of my business. Those letters were in the drawer of my bedside table, where I keep my curlers and other objects of intimate nature. You tell me you're in your wallet, and you dare to cross-question me? It's past belief, and I did think you were still a gentleman.
Damn it, madam, will you stick to the point?
So you ransack the lady's drawer, do you, my lad? You try to dishonor her, you fancy officer. All right then, I shall tell everybody. I shall get up, I'll recover for a day. The poor of my aching legs. On the night of the reception at the annual tattoo, in front of all the high-ranking personnel, I shall make a sensational entrance and I shall tell all.
I repeat, I did not ransack your drawers.
Have you those letters?
I have.
Show them to me.
Not on your life.
Haha, very well. If you really have those letters, there can be nothing more between us than an ocean of contempt. You may go now. I'm sleepy. I'm asleep.
No, madam. You are not asleep. That would be too easy. Open your eyes. Open your eyes this instant. Do you hear? Or I'll open them for you. Emily, do as I say. Open your eyes. Emily, do as I say. Come to your senses, then you. What new game are you playing now?
My heart!
What about your heart?
It's shrinking! Goodbye, Leon. I never loved anyone else but you.
No, not your heart attack. We haven't even raised our voices. Your heart attack is for the beat scenes, madam. You're warm, your pulse is good. I'm not falling for that. Wake up, Emily. You can't be as rigid as that. You're doing it on purpose. I'll give you your drops. Holy Moses, what a collection! It would take a qualified druggist to make heads or tails of this lot. There's enough here to upset the constitution of a case of a cart horse. Needless to say, no dropper. Where the devil did Eugene put the thing? Oh well, here goes. 1 drop more, 1 drop less. The way things are now. There, Emily, drink this. Oh, Emily. And if that doesn't do the trick, I'll call the doctor. Unclench your teeth, my love. Unclench your teeth. It's dripping all over you. What's the matter with you? Your pulse is all right. There's no getting away from that. I'll give you your injection.
You're still rummaging, Leon. You're suspicious of me even on my deathbed.
I'm not rummaging. I'm looking for your capsules.
Too late. I'll call the children.
What are you raving about, my dear? You are going to die. You're weak, that's all. I'll get the doctor.
Too late. I implore you. Don't move, Leon. Stay with me. Hold my hand as you did in the old days, long ago when I was ill. You took care of me then. You were patient with me. You used to bathe me with eau de cologne and murmur sweet nothings in my ear.
I can still dab me with a bit of cologne.
But without the sweet nothing! It's that that's killing me, you murderer!
What you have seen today is the result of incredibly hard work. In class, at home, I made them meet with me outside of class at least twice since Pesach, and everybody participated. And as you can see, they know how to read. And I want you to know that some of them suffer from stage fright. And I want you to know that at the beginning of the semester, some of them were inaudible and even incomprehensible. That's hard to believe, isn't it? So, I just want to thank you. It has been wonderful, and you know what, we're not done by another month. We've got stuff to do.